Dr. Shamim Salman, APPNA New York chapter president, and today was a day for our resident and fellows, which are physicians in training program, and about 150 physicians, young physicians registered, and Dr. Rizwan Naeem and Dr. Hassan Dogal is the co-chairman for this program. Our executive council for this program is that President Shamim Salman, Secretary Dr. Sadaf Sheikh, Treasurer Dr. Javed Rashid, and there were many other key members of our committee, Dr. Malli, Dr. Ghulam Shahzad, Dr. Parvez Iqbal, Dr. Javed Suleiman, and Dr. Mali, yeah, I said all those names, and then very successful program. The first session was educational to give them about our services which the APPNA New York chapter offers for young physicians. And Dr. Rizwan Naim is the main source of young physicians for many years, not just this year, 20 years at least, is serving the young physicians. He will tell you more about the young physicians' activities. And Dr. Rizwan Naim, now
Assalamualaikum. I'm Dr. Sadaf Sheikh. I'm the secretary for New York chapter for 2024. We had arranged resident and fellows and people who are looking for residency, a program at Shirazi in Queens, and they were lectures, and also they were guided what resources they can use so that they can find the residency which they are looking for, or in the meantime, while they are waiting for their residency, how can they improve their CV and get the maximum and the best residency they are looking for. And we wish them all best of luck.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Dr. Rizwan Naeem. I'm APPNA Central Secretary and also very much involved with Young Physician Program for the New York and for APPNA Central. I wanted to thank you, APPNA New York Chapter Executive Committee, President Dr. Shamim, Dr. Sadaf, and others who have really put their heart together and mind together to make that possible. This was not possible without their approval, without their help. Number two, first time we start registering young physicians into APPNA website.
Yes.
So there are over 150 residents and fellows and young physicians registered. They are part of us. We will invite them for picnic. We will invite them for annual event. This is a new life for APPNA New York chapter. We are the gate. We call the gateway to America, right?
Yes.
And if our passion is to help young physicians and do it. Today's program was fantastic, and
we congratulate our president, Dr. Shamim, for this successful program which we had today. And there was a very good turnout. And we really appreciate Dr. Shamim's efforts for all this program.
I am director of genetics, which is very few people choose for. I'm at Montefiore Medical Center and Albert Einstein College of Medicine. But my biggest credential is that I'm working with Young Physicians Program in APPNA since 2006. So many of you might have not graduated or even went to college at that time. Anyone looking for GI fellowship? So let's have a questions from them.
Competitive is GI to other fields? Like, is it easy for the IMGs to get it, or is it we have to build it up with our CV?
So top two most competitive field in medicine. It's back and forth between cardiology and GI every year. The reason why GI sometimes sort of edges cardiology out is because there's just fewer GI spots. Mm-hmm. But I think every year they try to increase the number of spots for GI fellowship. But as an FMG, it is hard. And I think the best chance for an FMG to get a GI fellowship, obviously, besides doing research and getting into a decent residency, is try to get into a residency where they have GI fellowship. And that way you can sort of start doing research or being around the faculty for like 2 or 3 years even before you start applying. And I think that's probably your best way of getting your foot in the door. So they get to know you, and if they get to know you and if they like you, then the chances of you getting the GS card is pretty high.
Gotcha.
But obviously research goes hand in hand with that. Having decent board score goes hand in hand with that as well. So all those things need to land in line, along with you doing well and impressing the faculty.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right? And if you come across any unexpected open position, I think she can be a very, very good candidate because she's already practicing physician or like a physician in New York, and she wants to do residency. Why I don't know, but that's her passion. That's what she told me. Right?
I think for the physicians who are looking for residency, I would say you have to stay strong, look for the observerships, look for the right mentors, and this is an opportunity to connect. I think we have to come out of our boundaries, talk to the people next to us, and you will find people who help you. When I came to US, I spoke with many people. Many people were very helpful, and that's how you connect. You come to a new country, you don't know anybody, but then you make friends.
Another avenue of doing observership, which I think is very important as well, is you can reach out to the GME offices of the different institutions, the Graduate Medical Education Office, and just ask them if they have any observership positions available or open that you can apply for. It could mean anything. If you're looking for internal medicine residency or whichever residency. So sometimes they have positions that go unfilled because no one's really applied for them. So if you don't know the doctor individually, then just go to the GME office and they can help you out as well.
So thank you for having me here, and I see a lot of potential in the room, and I could see the passion that a lot of you have for medicine. And I think one of the things that I can't stress enough is that when you do have the interview, you've already, made it 90% of the way. Once you're in that interview chair, you really have to shine, and you really have to be yourself and be humble and express who you really are as a person, because they're not looking at your records anymore. Your records are already been, looked at, and that's why you have that interview. And so one of the things that is really important is that, you present yourself at your very best. You make eye contact, you smile, you ask questions. You know about their program, you've researched it, you ask appropriate questions. And as my husband was saying to one of the candidates earlier, is that don't ask things like, well, how long is the call and how many hours do I have to work? They don't like that. So if you're not willing to work, don't become a doctor. So please, be mindful of that you have the interview, you have already succeeded. And so once you're in that interview chair, you have that one opportunity to shine, and you should take that opportunity and make it your very best. And hopefully that will, score you a spot into the residency program. After that, it's really a whole lot of hard work, and you really have to be dedicated. And just because your internal medicine residency has a fellowship in what you like, you rotating through that, division is not enough. You have to show your passion. You do have to do research. You do have to be available, and you do have to be better than the outside candidates. And so you have to work that extra mile to get that spot. And if you do those things, you will get that spot. There's no doubt. They would prefer an internal medicine candidate of their own who was bright and who was passionate over someone who they don't know, even if they're good on paper, because they've known you for 2 or 3 years. So make sure that you... I'm sorry? Yeah, and most programs would prefer to take their own residents, right? So make sure that you don't think that you're owed the spot. You're not owed the spot. There are places that take outside candidates over their internal candidates because their internal candidates didn't do enough. They weren't there enough. They didn't do enough research. And so, don't let that, myth kind of get to, into your brain that, well, I'm here, they're going to have to take me because I'm one of their residents. It's not enough. So please make sure that you try your best throughout the process,
I'm from Srinagar, Kashmir. I think the only one who's from IOK here. So me and my friends, we are here. I'm an R2 in internal medicine at White Heights Medical Center. We're looking for any research opportunities in oncology. I would highly appreciate if anyone can reach out and guide us regarding that, because the program that I'm currently doing my residency doesn't have an in-house fellowship, and we are only limited with like doing case reports, but we want to land up in good projects, good research opportunities. I would highly appreciate. Thank you so much for your time.
Doing an outside rotation in oncology somewhere else. And even if it's at Sloan Kettering for 2 or 3 months, and you embed yourself with a research team there, and you do some retrospective data, and you collect data for them, and you put the data together, that would be great. So it doesn't have to be Sloan Kettering, but they have a lot of opportunities there because it's a cancer hospital. But it could be Cornell, it could be NYU, it could be Columbia. So make sure that you leave Wyckoff, go somewhere else, do oncology rotations, and make sure that you shine in those rotations, and make sure that you are able to get some sort of research under your belt with them, besides the case reports and abstracts that you may be writing on your own.
Actually, sometimes you have to spend some extra time. What I mean from that is your vacation. If you can spend your vacation doing a rotation somewhere else, New York City is big. You have a month of vacation every year. If you can spare that time, you can go do a rotation in oncology in another institution, maybe as an observer, maybe not an official rotation, but do publish some data, review data, introduce yourself to that program.
A research fellowship. It's called Empire State Research Fellowship, which is New York State paid research. After your 3 year of residency, you can go into that program and do paid research and get into the program. I did it. You can do it. And like Dr. Lauren was saying, you can write retrospective reviews, and you can write also the treatment updates in oncology. There's a lot of going on in oncology, a lot of things going on, a lot of new things. So also, we can help you to get rotated in other hospital where the fellowship program are, but you need to have your own background of the research before you enter in another program, because they're not going to help you because they have their own candidate already lined up for 2 3 years. So I wanted to do oncology myself. I didn't get it. I got gastroenterology because I did a lot of research. That's what it is.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Shazia Durrani, and I really appreciate the APPNA team for having a thought of arranging this forum. And this might be, and I'm sure it would be very helpful for all of us. So, I am a gynecologist. I have a 10 to 15 years experience from Pakistan and Bahrain, and having fellowship in OBGYN from Pakistan and UK. So now I'm here in New York, and I just want to enter into the system. So in a clinical side, although I'm doing like MBA healthcare management also, because uh, in the background fears of not getting into the system again. So I just want to know, like, I know the eras and what is the requirement for that, and how competitive the OBGYN is here. But would you like to guide me or assist me or facilitate me, like what can be the possible alternate pathways to enter in OBGYN? Though I am open to other specialties also. It's not like based on my previous experience, definitely I wish to be in OBGYN, but as they offered like a research fellowship, so it can be in OBGYN, and then it can help me to enter into the clinical side of OBGYN later on. Or can I get a fellowship in any subspecialty of OBGYN in USA? What do you think? Without doing residency. And I also want to like to add that I have done USMLE step 1 and OET, so I'm about to do the step 2 as well. So I would be ECFMG certified. So on the base of that, what are the possible options for me to enter in this? Although I'm open to work, like different states have given the waive of programs for residency if you have 5 years experience back from your country, like Tennessee, and others are also passing those bills. So I don't know. I have never seen anyone. Do you guys have seen anyone who entered through this pathway in the Tennessee, that that the people started working there? I'm not sure because it's just pub like a news which is roaming around that you can enter. But
Okay.
I really don't know how to enter and where I should approach. Even I want to get some position into the research or something. So how to approach, and even what are the possible fellowships, which positions, which waive off the residency program. These all. Sorry for too many questions.
Shazia, thank you so much for your questions. And many people from the here want to answer your question, and we will. But in the meantime, 1 second, I would like to invite some very important APPNA leadership. Because this is program of APPNA New York chapter, and New York chapter is always very helpful to help you guys. So I would like to invite here in the panelists Dr. Javed Suleiman. Please also invite and Dr. Also, he is the one of the main pillar of the New York chapter, and plus he is also past president of the Central APNA, and he's associate professor with Mount Sinai Medical Center and interventional cardiologist, and is a big resource for our young physician and their questions. And also our past president of New York chapter, Dr. Arshad Anwar, is here. He can also answer some of the questions. Now, who want to answer? So,
Yeah, Dr. Shazia, let me very quickly answer your question. Actually, many, many years before, I was in the same boat what you are. I did neurosurgery in Pakistan and England, and then I worked in Middle East. I worked in France. So I went across the whole world practically before coming here. So when I came here, I didn't pursue neurosurgery. I did pulmonary critical care, and I'm a pulmonologist and critical care specialist. What I want to say is there are several ways you can go from here. As we were talking about, there is a there is a pathway in which you can go directly from, if you have MRCOD from England, you can directly go into the fellowship of a GYN, OBGYN, and from there you get a limited license. Because in order to get the unrestricted license, you have to do residency. That's one pathway. Second pathway is that you go to the, as I was speaking to you privately, you have to go to several programs, knock their doors. Many of the GYN programs, they hire the house physicians, and house physicians get limited license. So this is a second pathway. When we were resident in our place also, there was a GYN program, and there were a couple of Indian doctors working there on a limited license. You can do that. But you are MRCO, you are very young. I think for you, I would not suggest you to become NP. I would not suggest you to become a limited license. I would not suggest you to go and take the pathway, go direct fellowship, and then come back to do. You're a driven person. You have MRCOD. You should you clear step one. You give step two. Go into residency and get the you can uh, chances you will be able to get a residency in OBGYN are very, I think, extremely bright. So you should not go the shortcuts. Yeah, well, you're not old, probably. In America, in America, we don't consider you old. Probably nobody's old over here. So that's a different mindset, right? I don't consider myself even old. So the answer what I'm giving you, nobody will give you because I work in 4 continents in the world, and this is my message to all of you. I work in 4 continents of the world, but I tell you one thing: there is no where in the world where practice of medicine is celebrated as much as in America from two aspects, which are of colossal importance for anybody who want to live a good life. Number one, the monetary advantages, what you get in, as a, being a doctor in America is nowhere close to other part of the world.
And secondly, the independence you get, the freedom you have. You can work in the hospital, you can have private practice, you can have all kind of venues. Freedom and monetary advantage, what you have, you're never going to get anywhere. So for you, my suggestion would be you go the right way, the straight way, instead of shortcuts.
I would also like to add there are many fellowship programs, non accredited fellowship programs, where they pay you and they make you work like a fellow. And that will only help you to improve your CV. So, this is not only for a senior or graduates or graduates who are over 5 years, for example, or 10 years, but aspiring physicians, if your scores are not good, for example, if you think that you will have a hard time in getting into something, so I would say look for non-accredited fellowship programs. Many different hospitals do that, where you work as a physician but you improve your CV. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, so I actually thought of that when you mentioned it. At our own institution, New York Presbyterian Queens, we do take renal fellows without doing residency. So that's one of the fellowships at our hospital who takes, and that's an accredited program. So they do renal fellowship without doing internal medicine residency. So that's just one thing that I know of. I'm sure there's others out there as
Many
well.
places do that. Yes.
Yes.
These also, especially in areas where there are not too many residents and fellow going into, they do have this GME office. So my best guess is for all the people who are looking for any rotation, contact graduate medical office and grad medical education office, and they will guide you in any hospital to do whatever you do. The other track which I have seen is Dr. Faria is sitting here. She, after passing her exams, she did nurse practitioner. And it took 2 years, but now she's a nurse practitioner working in a hospital and still looking for a residency. So that will help you tremendously if you don't waste your time, do something about it rather than just waiting for what is available. So before we move on, I want to see if anyone has immigration question.
Shazia, so NYC HSC has a H1 program where you have to have a step two, and they do offer, like I know in orthopedic, they the person two doctors came from India, and they offer them they have experience like you have. They offer them H1, and this is basically a 3 year program they have, and then they can work independently. So I gave you Dr. Ghaffar number. He's the chairman at Queen's Hospital. He knows a lot. He's a gyno-urology. I think they may have gyno-urology fellowship. So, just they will require a step two and step three maybe. So that you have to give, and then the state, New York State, do not give a limited license if you don't have a step three. If you don't have a residency, it doesn't matter. You can do with a step three with me, even with under my license, supervised. You can get up to 2 to 3 year license from New York State, but that will not count to you. It will be like a modern slavery. So you don't want to be wasting time and not doing what you're supposed to do while you are here for. So my like everyone say, GME programs, GME departments are very good departments. Don't assume they are not responding to you. You need to find a context inside also. It is very important. But GME email directly. I came in this country. I didn't have a visa, anything. I emailed 500 program to just get assistant research position, which I got in H1. So if I can get it, you guys can get it.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank the New York chapter for doing a wonderful program. ये जो न्यूयॉर्क चैप्टर है, that's one of the most vibrant chapter of APPNA. Remember, APPNA का एक main one of the objective is to help the younger physician. So this is our part of our voluntary job. It's not that we are doing any favor to anyone. We were helped at some point too. So this is how it works. Details तो खैर यहाँ पे अभी Rizwan or other colleagues have gone through. First of all, our president, Dr. Shamim Salman, mashallah, she was very passionate from the very beginning. January में जो हमने meeting किया, so she decided that we should have this program. And mashallah, we are doing a great program. Thanks to all the colleagues over here. We are here to help you. Remember 2-3 important things detailed तो आपने और जो इस वक्त those who are in the front line उनसे आपने सुन लिया. But remember, sky is the limit in this country. Everything is possible. Okay. You just have to be, should have perseverance, you should be persistent, and you should be intelligent. You should not look for what you call zebras. You understand what I mean? But anomalies को ना देखें आप. Look for the right track. अच्छा वो जो colleagues जो बात कर रहे थे कि old और new और वगैरह, there's no such line over there कि ये old graduate है या new graduate है. हाँ, कुछ programs का होता है कि must be within 3 years of graduation, must be within 5 years of graduation, उनका cut point होता है. But remember, there's always an exception. अगर कोई आइंस्टाइन लेवल का आदमी आ जाएगा, कोई रिफ्यूज करेगा उसको, सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता. वो 15 साल भी पुराना हो. तो what they look for is in your CV that what you have done in that time since you graduated till now. If you have worked as a primary care physician in England for 10 years, and you have really, और वहां से जो है उसकी आपके testimonials आ रहे हैं कि यार you had been a great doctor, which program will refuse you as a PGY1, even if you are 10 years old graduate? So remember those things. So each and every day which you pass, this is important after graduation because it is accounted for. When you write over there, उसमें ये सब चीजें लिखने का नहीं होता कि मैं ये कर रहा था या अभी ये शादी थी तो फला था तो ये था वो था. No, you got to be professional. You have to accountable होना चाहिए. इस मंथ में मैंने ये किया, इस मंथ में मैंने ये किया. And when you are being interviewed at that time, you should be able to explain it well. ये नहीं कि उस वक्त पता ना हो कि आपकी कोई रिसर्च का यार मैं तो बस ये कर रहा था. No, you should know the whole thing. So that is important too. But once you lose the credibility, दो चार questions में ना program director comes to know कि जो है वो क्या जो है इसके depth क्या है, और वहीं पे वो डिसाइड कर लेते हैं कहाँ पे. दे विल नेवर टेल यू कि सॉरी यू आपके तो गलत है या ये है. They'll say, okay, thank you very much, but you will not be in their matching list. So be very careful about these things. Be judicious, be vigilant, be persuasive. Don't waste your time. Do your best, and we are here to help you as much as we can. Thank you.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.